So we've got one final thing to look at with proportion, which is inverse proportion involving squares, cubes and roots. So we'll begin the same way we've been working for a little while, which is by writing that first line with the proportional symbol. So y is proportional to, read the question really carefully here, so it's inverse, so it's going to be 1 over, and it's the square of x, so it's got to be x squared. Now, if you don't want to write that first line, it's perfectly acceptable to jump straight to here and call it y equals some number k, which tells us the relationship between y and x squared. So first thing I need to do is go and find k. I've written my equation connecting them there. So let's put the numbers in. We've got y is 3.5 and k is the thing I'm going to find, and then I've got x squared on the bottom, x being 2 squared on the bottom. So again, I know 2 squared is 4, and I've still got 3.5 over here. So in order to find k, I need to get that 3.4. I need to get that 4 off the bottom there. So I multiply both sides by 4. If we do that, we get 3.5 times by 4, which is 14. And I've got rid of that 4 there because I've multiplied by it. So I've got that k is 14. And once we've got that, straight back to there, and in it goes again. So y equals k, which is now 14, divided by whatever x squared is. And that's the formula for using x squared. You're using x to find y and vice versa. So that there is pretty much all I'd need to answer loads of questions from that point onwards. So this time we've got r is inversely proportional to s cubed. So let's write that down. It doesn't mention creating an equation here or any kind of formula, but that's what it does want us to do that. So we're going to go ahead and do that anyway. So I've got r is proportional to, inversely proportional to s cubed. So that needs to be written out like that. And again, you can skip that step if you want and just call it r equals some number k over s cubed. And then we can get straight into the act of finding out what k is. Now, temporarily you just need to ignore this second part here because that's kind of like a separate part of the question. The first part is this finding out the value of k using this information given here. So if r is a quarter, so I can write that in on the left hand side, r is a quarter, and that equals k over s cubed, s being 4. Got 4 cubed. 4 cubed is 64. So k over 64 is a quarter. So I need to get rid of that divided by 64, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 64. And if I do that, I get a quarter times by 64, which is 16. On that side I've got rid of the divide, leaving me with just k. So I get that bit, stick that back in there, and get the equation that I'm after. So r equals 16 divided by s cubed, and that's all I'm going to need now to answer these next two questions. So that's the key formula, that's the bit I've got to get before I do anything else. So away we go now. This bit here, find r when s is 1. That's going to be nice and easy because when r is need to be found when s is 1, I'm just going to stick that into down here. And because 1 cubed is going to be 1, that's going to make my job nice and easy. So r is going to be 16 divided by 1 cubed, or 1 cubed is 1. So it's just going to be 16. So that's that bit done. The next bit, find s when r equals 2. Now this is a little bit more work. So this time I know that r is 2, so I can go and put that in there. So I've got 2 equals, I'm going to write out the rest of the formula, 16 over s cubed. Right, now I've got to find s, so I need a bit of algebra skill just to move this all around. So I get rid of this s cubed off the bottom because I can't deal with it while it's down there. So I'll make it appear on the left hand side, so I've got 2 lots of s cubed, and on this side I've got rid of the bottom half of the fraction to leave me with 16. I still want to get s on its own, so the next thing I'm going to kick off is this 2. And I'll do that by dividing everything by 2. Gets rid of it. So that will leave me with s cubed. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Now I just need to get rid of this cube root. Now I need to get rid of the cube, sorry. And to do that, I've kind of given that away already. I'm just going to cube root both sides. And if I cube root both sides, that cancels out that, and I get the cube root of 8, which is 2. So the final one to look at is the ones involving the square root. So again, we've got inversely proportional, so that's 1 over, and it's the square root of x this time. So I need to write it out like that. So you should be used to the next step by now. So that would be k over root x. So calculate the value of y when x equals 25. Well, I can't do that bit yet because I haven't used the numbers to make the actual formula yet. So it's these bits I need first. So when y is 5, so put that in there, y is 5 and x is 9, so I've got k over the square root of 9. I know what that is. The square root of 9 is 3, so I must have 5 equals k over 3. Let's keep that 3 off the bottom by multiplying both sides by it. And that gives me 15 equals, got rid of that fraction, k. So stick that back in my formula and we're nearly ready to go. So y equals 15 over the square root of x. Got the bit I needed, my way to go with any kind of problems that I get asked. So all I've got to do is calculate the value of y when x equals 25. So if x is 25, that's going in there. Going to give me a nice simple answer. So y is the bit I don't know. Still got the 15, and the 25's got to go in there. So I've got the square root of 25, and the square root of 25 is 5. So I've got 15 over 5, and 15 over 5 is 3. So y must be 3.